It doesn't get much more remote than this. When the Guardians first created the Greenlanterncorps, they divided the universe into 3,600 sectors. This is Sector 3599, and I hear 3600 is just in a vacuum. Something wiped it out a long time ago. Sir, I'm on the outer edges of space, maybe the very edge. It's colder here, quieter, and darker. I don't think there are stars beyond this place. At least I can't see one. There's not much of anything around here. But there is life. And as the only Green Lantern still active in space, it's my duty to protect all of it. Every sector.
Deep in the chilling expanse of an icy planet, a towering grizzly bear stood triumphant against the monstrous bug-like creature, as the Green Lantern dealt the final blow with his raging construct, mauling at its corpse. As he descended back to the grateful civilians, their faces aglow with relief, they gathered around him in herds. Their alien tongues danced with words Kyle couldn't fathom.
Even if I can't understand a thing they're saying.
The enigmatic language continued to spill from their lips as the aliens hurtled around him with the chorus of incomprehensible sounds.
They keep chattering, repeating the same words, I guess. You're welcome. All right?
He offered. His attempt at reassurance met with the same repeated message, a phrase echoing with urgency.
I'm sorry. I'm not too good at foreign languages. I failed 9th grade French.
Yet, despite his apologies, the aliens persisted, their grasp reaching out.
Look, I'm going to go now. Thank you. I wish I could understand what you're saying, but
Suddenly interrupting him, his Green Lantern ring reported.
Language 1456 of Sector 3599, translating to language 954,342 of Sector 2814.
You could translate and speak? I thought only John's ring could.
Translation complete. Parallax.
What?
Parallax is coming.
Back on Earth, 3 jets streaked through the cerulean canvas up above. With his eyes wide with wonder, a young boy leaned on the banister, his toy held aloft as if mimicking the daring maneuvers of the planes.
To another beautiful Sunday at Mountain View, California for the Moffett Field Air Expo!
The announcer's voice boomed, embracing the awestruck crowd.
Wow, what kind of planes are those?
They are F-15s.
A voice responded, as Hal Jordan shared.
I used to fly one of those myself.
No way.
Back when I was in the Air Force, and one turbine shaft failure knocked me out of the last one. Lit right up like a roaming candle.
Weren't you scared?
Should have been.
But the beauty shattered as a woman's cry pierced the air, as suddenly, one of the plane's engine bursted and it plummeted out of control to the ground.
I have to help.
This is not what we are here for.
The Spectre insisted.
It is now.
Hal countered as he quickly transformed into a giant green-cloaked figure.
Saving this man is waste of time.
The Spectre shared, dissenting as he caught the plummeting plane, setting it gently on the ground.
He would have been welcomed into God's kingdom, reunited with his father.
Yet in the moment the ambulance pulled into view, the Spectre swiftly vanished, seamlessly teleporting to a nearby cathedral cloaked in the shroud of night. In that mysterious retreat, He whispered an unsettling revelation to Hal.
While here in Italy, a boy rides his bike through the night and is struck dead by a drunk driver. The murderer has been arrested and imprisoned, but that is not enough. He must feel his insides pop open as his victims did. His rotten soul must be crushed like the boy's skull. That killer will taste the vengeance of the spectre.
No, I won't be a part of your sick and demented justice. I won't cross that line.
The line you crossed when you destroyed the core? When you became Parallax? You are seeking redemption. You must continue to. You must help me fight it.
Fight what? I don't believe in vengeance. I am not you.
We know.
A voice acknowledged, surprising Hal with a sinister version of himself.
You're us. Green Lantern. Parallax.
As Hal and Parallax clashed, their struggle converged into a spiraling vortex, drawing them into the Spectre's visage by force.
The Spectre. We are one. And this union is for the good of not just us, Hal Jordan, but the universe itself. This pathetic, fear-filled universe.
The universe. I'd been told it was a magnificent place back then, full of wonder and adventure, and even variants. Defenders from 1,000 worlds patrolling their respective sectors, each one wielding the most fantastic weapon in existence. For billions of years, the Greenlanterncorps lit the darkest ends of space. They were the manifestations of hope and achievement, of righteousness and force of will, until one of their own destroyed it all, and the light of the Green Lanterns vanished. Almost.
As the green spacecraft soared through the vast expanse of space, it left the searing heat of the sun behind. The ship's advanced technology allowed it to withstand the extreme temperatures and radiation of the solar surface, and now it was on a mission of great importance. The spacecraft passed by various planets within the sector, and it has finally arrived to planet Earth. In the desolate expanse of Highway Mill, New Mexico, a pair of intrepid backpackers found themselves traversing in an abandoned wilderness. Their journey unfolded alongside a forbidding barbed-wired fence, demarcating the boundaries of a restricted area within the Nellis bombing and gunnery range. It explicitly warned them of the consequences of entering the government-owned property, and yet they pressed on.
Have you lost your mind? I'm not going in there. I don't want to get shot. The base has been deserted for years. All those stories about UFOs and Groom Lake, it was just the government testing stolen Soviet planes. They had so many, the pilots used to call it Red Square.
As they approached the gate, his partner voiced his doubts.
You don't believe in UFOs? Do you?
He countered. Suddenly, a massive boom shattered the tranquility of the wasteland, making the backpackers jump in surprise. An oncoming spacecraft descended through the atmosphere with a fiery inferno, crashing against the deserted landscape at incredible speed. It screeched as it desperately tried to brace itself to a grinding halt. The fallen backpackers were completely amazed by the surreal sight. The green spaceship had crashed right in front of their very eyes, right next to the barbed wire fence.
So what kind of plane is that? I don't know,
his friend admitted, equally stunned. Cautiously, they hopped over the metallic fence and curiously approached the damaged ship. A gaping hole adorned its front, and to their astonishment, they spotted a figure emerging from the wreckage. It was Kyle Rayner. Behind him, an imposing lantern battery stood sentinel atop a large coffin. His outstretched hand mirrored the anguish etched on his face.
Please, don't be afraid. You can't be afraid. Can't.
He struggled to speak as he tried to get back onto his feet.
Can't use it. Can't take it off. The ring. It's burned itself onto my flesh. It stays with me.
Kyle pleaded as he reached out and grabbed the stranger's hand.
You have to listen.
Hey, let go!
You have to tell them. It has a name. It has a...
But suddenly, Kyle's strength gave out and he collapsed against the unforgiving ground, writhing in pain.
Kyle Rayner. I was the last of the Green Lanterns. And the first to know what fear really is.
In North California, a lone red car sat parked next to a weathered street sign that read, Coast City 25 miles, with yellow graffiti defiant in the wall added, Not anymore. As her blue coat billowed in the light breeze with her yellow scarf, Carol stepped out of her red car holding a phone close to her ear. While she was talking on the phone, she gazed her eyes in front of the abandoned Ferris aircraft facility that was up for sale.
I just want to take a look around. It's still on the market, and yes, I've been out here a lot lately. What can I say, Gil? I grew up on this airfield.
Revisiting the place, Carol opened the gate and went inside into the airfield and opened one of the aircraft hangars.
I can still smell jet fuel burning. I can hear the roar of the turbines. You should come out here sometime. It was my childhood. Dad and I watched them take off every day, all day. I don't think so. I can't. When I took over for him, I stopped looking into the sky. I kept my head in the accounting books, and that's when it wasn't fun anymore. That's when I didn't care. I didn't care what happened to this place.
As she looked around the aircraft, she noticed something odd.
This wonderful place.
Carol, are you all right?
I'm fine, Gil. I'll be fine. I'll call you when I leave.
I love you.
I love you too.
Carol replied as she hung up, her attention fully turned to the discovery before her. She reached out and touched the side of a commissioned jet, her fingers tracing away the grime that has been collected over the years. As she wiped her hand, a name was revealed in bold letters: H. Jordan. Meanwhile, in the heart of the Bronx, New York City, the skyline endlessly stretched outward as a figure soared through the skies. John Stewart, known to the world as Green Lantern, had Guy Gardner in tow, lifting him effortlessly with a shimmering construct resembling a scissor lift. The stadium below roared with anticipation. Guy Gardner's attire was as bold as his personality, a black shirt emblazoned with a crimson W gracing his chest. He couldn't help but voice his curiosity.
Still not sure why you think a baseball game is going to help him. Speaking of which, are we going to head down or float up here all afternoon? The first inning already started.
Stop backseat flying, Guy.
I would if you knew how to fly with that thing. You point and glide like a freaking ballerina. Just think and the ring'll take you. Stop trying to look good doing it. Trust me.
As they descended upon the stadium's clear parking lot, John dissipated his energy construct.
There are only 2 people I've ever trusted in this world.
Well, I'm one of them, right?
No, Guy.
Who? The kid? Kyle?
Yes, Kyle. And Hal.
John confessed as he changed his Green Lantern uniform to more casual attire.
I used to trust Hal. Our rings could be out of power. We could be trapped on the edge of a black hole facing off against Evil Star. But if I looked Hal in the eyes, if he told me we were going to get out of it, I always believed him. I miss that look.
Evil Star? You worried about a guy like Evil Star?
That's not the point.
Look, Jordan had stones. I'll give him that, but it wasn't nothing special.
Then why are you here?
As they entered the building, Guy secured some tickets to the big game.
You kidding? These seats are great.
You miss the ring.
Come on.
You miss being a Green Lantern.
Really? And what's your role as Green Lantern with the Justice League, huh? You're just a good little soldier, Stewart. You let that Dark Knight tell you what to do. You never even challenge him. I know how it's run. I used to be in the League myself.
The League isn't a dictatorship, and Batman's hardly calling the shots.
That's what he wants you to think.
As they approached their seats, Guy continued his impassioned speech.
When Jordan first gave you that ring, you had guts. You spoke your mind, you did what you thought was right. That's why you were chosen as a Green Lantern in the first place. Then you made a mistake, and you stopped trusting yourself. Had to look at others to lead you around. You threw all your willpower into being an architect, and now all you think about is how things work, instead of why things work.
John decided he had heard enough and used his ring to silence Guy temporarily.
That's plenty, Guy.
He said as the energy construct covering Guy's mouth dissipated.
Okay. But what I'm trying to say is, you're dead wrong. I don't miss that ring. I don't miss the Guardians and their stupid rules. I don't miss always having to prove I'm the best one out there, and I sure as hell don't miss being forced to live up to some higher code of universal ethics.
In a display of his own powers, Guy's body transformed, growing larger and more imposing. His skin became adorned with striking red and blue tattoos.
My Vuldarian powers, laced in my genetics. They've brought me back from the brink of death, even during that interplanetary war crap. That and my good looks make me stand out on my own. They make me more than just another Green Lantern. I'm Guy Gardner, warrior. Screw the Corps.
Eloquent as always.
As Guy transformed back to his normal self, they made their way into the stadium.
Honest as always. Here's another piece of truth for you. Hal's not gonna show.
Guy disclosed. Together, they walked into the stadium, taking their front row seats with an empty one reserved beside John.
He's not even human anymore. He died. He's a ghost, literally.
You are right, Guy. These are great seats.
A familiar voice chimed in. It was Hal, dressed in a brown leather coat with his initials proudly displayed.
Jordan, where did you...
Sorry, Emily.
I'm just glad you made it.
It's been a long time since I did much of anything I used to. I appreciate the gesture, John.
Just want you to know you still have friends.
I do, pal.
And acquaintances. Hey, beer guy!
Guy raised his request. As they settled in to enjoy the game, Hal shared a piece of his past.
I used to love baseball. The Coast City Angels were quite a team back in the day. My dad used to take me and my brothers to every home game. I never forgot the Angels' motto, carved into each one of their baseball bats. Aim for the stars.
Suddenly, a stranger approached Hal, seemingly overwhelmed by guilt.
You! I need to tell you something.
He blurted out. Hal looked puzzled.
I'm sorry? Do I know you?
The stranger dropped to his knees, uttering his confession.
I'm a sinner.
Ah, sheesh, here we go.
Guy groaned while clutching his beer. The entire stadium seemed to converge upon Hal, each person eager to unburden their conscience.
I'm embezzling money from the office, and I have been for years. I lied to my wife. I committed adultery.
What the hell is going on? Can't we just enjoy the... I cheated on my taxes.
As much as I want to, I can't stay here, John. The spirit of vengeance, it won't give me a break anymore.
Hal, wait, we can...
John began, but it was too late. In the blink of an eye, Hal Jordan vanished from his seat, leaving behind a sense of mystery and a stadium full of people in utter confusion. Within Star City, the home of Oliver Queen, the enigmatic Green Arrow stood in the midst of life's contradictions. His hooded eyes scanned the room as he held an arrow with a sense of purpose. His voice, steady and commanding, cut through the air.
Hurry it up, Nia.
Preparing herself, she picked up her bow and replied,
Just give me another minute. I've got to get my mask on before we go play Robin Hood. You see the spirit gum anywhere?
Oliver casually pushed his hat back with an arrow.
You remind me of Dinah, you know, Mia. It took her forever to put on those fishnets and that blonde...
The tranquility was shattered by a deafening explosion that tore behind them. Both Green Arrow and Mia were thrown to the ground as debris rained upon them. Midst the falling rubble, a sinister figure emerged from the explosion. In his hand, Black Hand held onto a yellow metal device in his hand as he questioned.
Where are you? I know you're here, you little...
He swung the detector, and it ominously beeped, leading him towards another door.
Ah.
The door met its explosive demise, sending splinters flying. Beyond it lay a flight of stairs, leading to an underground basement. Black Hand was relentless.
You're down here, aren't you? My power device can sense you. You can't hide. You can't...
His voice was cut short as the detector directed him towards a metallic, small box.
Yes. Yes. You are here. Oh God. What a beautiful sight.
Triumph gleamed in his eyes as he picked up a green lantern ring.
All those years of relying on the ring to provide my weapon with power, when I should have just taken the ring itself.
Suddenly, an arrow whizzed through the air, lodging itself directly into the middle of Black Hand's right hand. The metal box and the coveted green lantern ring crashed to the ground as the arrow pinned him to the wall.
You picked the wrong damn house, Blackhand.
Black who?
Mia chimed in as both archers readied their bows.
One of Lantern's old losers, kid.
Ollie?
Hal? Speak of the devil.
I've been wanting to come see you. I just hoped it wouldn't be like this.
Hold on, all right? Let's cuff Blackhand, and we could go talk.
But Hal's demeanor shifted, and an eerie green energy enveloped him, transforming him into the Spectre. A green lantern symbol radiated on his chest, and dread filled the room.
I'd like nothing more, Ollie. But that's not what I'm here for.
The Spectre must deliver vengeance.
No.
William Hand, you let your jealousy of your family's own succession rot your soul. You have stolen that which is not yours. Countless times you have attempted to murder friends I care about, all in the name of gaining recognition from a family that doesn't love you. But in truth, your heart is as black as coal.
No, please.
Hal, what are you doing?
Judgment has been passed. You will live up to your name, Blackhand.
As the Spectre concluded his speech, his hand began to disintegrate, crumbling into dust before our eyes as he screamed in agony.
Don't move, Hal.
You really think our arrows are going to do anything?
Quiet, Nia.
Hal slowly turned around with his dark green cloak billowing behind him. His words hinted at a profound internal struggle as he transformed into a green mist. As he faded into thin air, his final words echoed hauntingly.
It's getting harder to focus, Ollie. There's something wrong. None of this should have happened. This isn't me. This isn't who I am.
My hand. Where's my...
He's in shock. The wound is cauterized, but his hand...
Turned into coal. The Spectre's sadistic sense of humor. But not Hal's.
As he retrieved his blood-stained arrow from the wall.
What is it, Ollie? What was that all about? Wasn't he like one of your best friends?
He delicately picked up the ring with the tip of his arrow, answering her question.
Despite it all, he still is. Hal gave me this ring a long time ago. He said, in case of emergency, break glass. I think the glass has just been broken.
In the heart of New York City, nestled on a corner street, stood a massive pub known to all as the Warriors. Its neon sign flickered with a timeless allure on its sword. The interior of this establishment was a testament to the legends of the Greenlanterncorps, with life-size statues encased in gleaming glass. These statues honored the guardians of the universe, Kilowog, Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner, and Hal Jordan, heroes of the cosmos. Guy leaned against the bar, nursing a cold beer with John Stewart. As they gazed upon the statues, their conversation began.
You sure you don't want a drink? It's on the house.
Thanks, anyway.
Guy raised his beer and offered a toast.
At least the Yanks beat the Bo Sox. Hell of a game. Look, maybe it isn't time for Hal to enjoy life. Think of what we went through. What he actually did after Coast City. The one true Green Lantern lost all his marbles.
John's eyes locked onto the statue of Hal Jordan, the hero who he once admired.
Without him, it just feels like there's something missing, like the universe is a darker place.
Guy took a thoughtful sip of his beer and leaned in closer.
You weren't active when it went down, John. You weren't there to see it. Hal called himself Parallax. He went on trying to rewrite history. kicking our asses when we got in his way. And then it wasn't a question of has Hal lost it. It was a question of did he ever even have it?
He had it. He did die saving the planet. He used his power to reignite the sun.
And now his soul is trapped inside the Spectre. God's spirit of vengeance or whatever the thing is. Ain't exactly a step forward.
He pushed away from the bar and stood up.
So why do you keep this statue up? You and Hal never...
We never saw eye to eye. And in case you're looking at history through rose-colored lenses, neither did the both of you. But I know, if something bad happened, if something really horrible went down in my life, he would have been there to back me up. You know what he would have done if he walked into my bar tonight? He'd pick out the most beautiful woman in the place, and in minutes have her wrapped around his finger like that ring of his. You were right, John. Hal was never afraid. And maybe there is something missing. Whatever. Let's call it a nigh.
Guy began, but his words were cut short. After taking a sip from his beer, Guy doubled over in pain. The glass bottle slipped from his grasp, shattering on the floor. His face twisted in agony as he struggled to regain his posture.
Guy, what is it?
As John watched in horror, Guy's body began to contort and change. His black shirt tore apart as if possessed by unseen forces, and his skin seemed to bubble and writhe uncontrollably.
Skin's on fire! John, get out! Hurry!
Guy's voice trembled with urgency as alien cannons emerged from his body.
Guy!
As he quickly summoned his Green Lantern uniform with his ring, a colossal cannon erupted from his body. The destructive force unleashed tore through the warrior's pub, reducing it to rubble in a massive explosion. The explosive impact reduced the establishment to mere rubble, enveloping the surroundings in billowing clouds of smoke and debris. Caught under the line of fire, John was forcefully blasted away from the epicenter, caught in the tumultuous whirlwind of destruction. At 15,000 feet above the coast of Northern California, a small plane soared through the misty embrace of the cloudy sky. Its engine hummed with a reassuring rhythm, but doubt lingered in the pilot's words.
I don't know about this. You sure it's safe to fly over? The radiation is... There isn't any. Still hard to imagine, though. 7 million died when Coast City was destroyed by that alien Mongol or whatever. It was just a big crater until that Haven commune settled. It was destroyed? Then what the hell is that? What are you... Oh my God!
The companion's voice wavered as the clouds began to disperse, unveiling a once obliterated coast city, miraculously reappearing onto the map. In Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana, the sultry, oppressive air weighed heavily upon the landscape, casting a sweltering haze over the Belle Reve prison. However, an unsettling shift in the atmosphere sent tremors of panic rippled through its thick walls.
Lock down! Now!
The security guards' voices echoed through the prison's dimly lit corridors, a command that struck fear into the hearts of both inmates and staff alike. Doctors in white coats hurriedly weaved through the maze of prison cells, their footsteps echoing in rhythm with the collective heartbeat of the facility. They bore a sense of urgency that transcended their usual professional demeanor. In their midst, a security guard was held in a mobile restraint, his eyes wide with a mixture of dread and fear.
There's zero brain activity, but he's still awake. Babbling.
The doctor remarked as he examined the restrained guard's vitals with his clipboard.
What the hell did he do to him? That's just it. Hammond never moves. He doesn't even blink. He sits there. He thinks. And he knows. He knows. He knows. He knows.
The restrained guard chanted repeatedly, his words growing more and more frantic with each repetition, as if trying to convey a dire message. The enigma at the heart of this unsettling situation was a man named Hector Hammond. His extraordinary tale had begun when he was exposed to an otherworldly meteorite, a celestial visitor that had bestowed upon him the curse and blessing of intelligence far beyond that of any ordinary human. Yet this gift came at a price, for his head had grown unnaturally large, trapping his brilliant mind within the confines of his cumbersome body.
Mr. Rayner brought back a story from space. I'm listening. I'm listening for you. Sing for me, Kyle. Sing me a song of fear.
The moon hung in the starry expanse of space like a silver coin. At its surface, the watchtower stood tall and imposing. Inside, the Justice League of America gathered, facing an unprecedented crisis. Concentrating on the situation, Martian Manhunter attempted to alleviate the agony-racking Guy Gardner. The Vuldarian physiology within Guy was in turmoil, causing him excruciating pain.
I am going to shut down his pain centers.
Batman, who brooded in the shadows, examined with caution.
I think it'd be best if you just render him unconscious, John.
No, you son of a...
Done.
Martian Manhunter confirmed, quelling Guy's torment. Batman turned to Dr. Midnight, who was examining Guy's unstable form.
What do you see, Dr. Midnight?
His body's rejecting itself. His organs are twisting around inside his shape-shifting physiology. It's fighting with him. He's barely stable, but whatever Guy Gardner's dealing with isn't over. I think it'd be best if I bring Mr. Terrific up here for assistance.
As Batman continued to assess the situation, Superman approached John with concern in his eyes.
You sure you're all right, John?
My ring caught the brunt of the explosion, Superman.
And you don't know why?
Guy just erupted, unleashed a massive amount of firepower.
Meanwhile, Batman utilized the Watchtower's advanced technology to stay connected with his allies on Earth. On his communications, the Dark Knight turned his attention to Diana.
Wonder Woman, what's the situation?
Diana, Power Girl, and Mr. Terrific were busy lifting the rubble at the Warrior, trying to make sense of the chaotic scene.
The area is quarantined for now. Metamorpho hasn't been able to find traces of any explosive or toxic element. The Justice Society is here as well, and Alan, Scott, and Jade found something odd. Everything in the bar was destroyed, save for one statue, Batman. A statue of Hal Jordan. It's completely intact.
Batman absorbed this information carefully as he tries to piece up the events that has occurred.
I'm worried about this, Jenny. Hal tried his best to change the nature of the Spectre. He's tried to prove himself again and again. But they won't ever forgive him, will they?
Dad? Dad, are you all right?
Just a little thirsty.
Alan Scott replied, conjuring green flames resembling the Green Lantern symbol.
It's nothing to worry about.
The Flash interrupted their conversation with alarming news from the West Coast.
Hey, Batman. We've got something weird on the West Coast, too. Those reports about Coast City, they weren't that far off. I mean, it's not back, but the Haven commune that was here, it's gone.
And Coast City?
Roads, street signs, stoplights. It's like a blueprint, but there's only one building.
22 Seaview?
Yeah. Does that mean anything? Aquaman?
It does to me, Flash.
Aquaman responded, with both heroes gazing at the building.
Me too.
I remember it's...
His address. It's Hal Jordan's old apartment building.
You don't think Hal did this, do you?
Yes, Flash, I do. And you, of all people, shouldn't be surprised. Coast City. Guy Gardner. Could the warning signs be any clearer? I'm beginning to suspect that Hal's whole jump from Parallax to the Spectre was part of a bigger plan. He had power as Parallax, but the Spectre, if he can tame the spirit of vengeance, he'll be close to unstoppable.
Martian Manhunter interjected, defending Hal's character.
I find it unlikely Hal was searching for more power. He was searching for redemption. He's changed since his days as Parallax.
Batman's skepticism remained firm.
I don't think Hal Jordan ever changed, John. Hal always had an ego. He never worried when things came crashing down. He never prepared. He just flew in. Damn the consequences. We should have known back then a man like him couldn't be trusted. A man like him. Enough!
John Stewart's voice thundered, his green power ring emitting a blinding light.
John.
What?
No. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the disrespect Batman slings Hal's way. You've always had a thing against him, haven't you? And I finally see why. Hal is the one person in this world that didn't buy what you're selling. Hal was the man without fear. And what is the Batman when you're not afraid of him? Just a man.
Rein it in, John.
Green Arrow advised the group.
As much as I hate to see it, or even admit it, Hal isn't the same guy we used to know. I just saw him. He severed the man's hand. He said, none of this should have happened. I don't know what he means, but... Good God, is that Mess Gardner?
This is strike 3. Face facts, John. The real Hal Jordan is back, and he's bringing the past with him.
The relentless rain poured down from the dark, stormy skies, drenching Carol as she sought refuge on the commissioned jet that Hal had once piloted. She found herself in the heart of a forgotten airfield, surrounded by abandoned fighter jets that bore the scars of past battles. The raindrops drummed a melancholic rhythm on the jet's metal surface, mirroring the tumultuous thoughts swirling in Carol's mind. In the midst of her solitude, Carol's gaze fell upon the damaged fighter jets that lay scattered around her. To her astonishment, something inexplicable unfolded before her eyes. The fighter jets, once battered and torn, began to undergo a miraculous transformation. Their twisted metal frames straightened, and their fractured wings mended, as if the ravages of time had suddenly reversed themselves. It was as though they were being reborn, emerging from the ashes of their former selves.
What?
Carol called out in disbelief. She could scarcely comprehend the surreal spectacle unfolding before her. Curiously, Carol ventured out into the rain, determined to investigate this extraordinary phenomenon. As she walked among the now revitalized fighter jets, she was overcome by an eerie sense of déjà vu. And then, just as she began to question her own sanity, a figure materialized from the shadows, standing next to one of the immaculately restored jets.
Hal?
Hello, Carol.
It began in the center of the universe, over 10 billion years ago, on the planet Oa. A race of immortals decided to declare themselves the guardians of the universe. They forged a central power battery, fueling the rings of their intergalactic police force, the greenlanterncorps. But there was a weakness in their plan, an impurity, and the Guardians finally learned nothing lasts forever.
Within the Citadel, a rushed green whirlwind suddenly surged forward. In an instant, a brilliant green streak collided with a stone statue of Hal Jordan as it soared directly to Earth.
Find him. Find Kylo Rayner.
In Highway Mill, New Mexico, the two weary strangers made a campfire as they nursed Kyle near the collapsed ship. The air was cold. As the day faded away to night, they had been waiting for what felt like hours.
He's still sweating. Why hasn't anyone shown up? How can they not have seen that crash? I don't know. Maybe his ship has cloaking or something. What do you think he's got in that thing anyway?
He pointed toward the massive coffin-like structure.
My instincts cry out, a harness for your dislocated shoulder, sutures for the cuts in your flesh. Sketch them in your mind, draw over reality, and make the pain go away. but I grind my teeth and swallow my blood and deal with it. I've had worse, I tell myself. Though I'm hard-pressed to remember when. My powdering. John warned me not to take it for granted, and not to underestimate its limitations. It'd be so easy to just force my will into it. So easy to feel better, but I can't. I saw it because I'm the only one of them that knows fear.
Struggling to speak, he spoke up.
I have to show them all. I saw it.
He just passed out again. I don't think we can wait around here. We've got to get him to a doctor.
As they contemplated their next move, a strange and eerie voice emanated from Kyle's ring.
Parallax.
Did you hear that? It's coming from his ring.
Parallax is coming.
At Ferris Aircraft, the sleek jets gleamed in the rain, its metal surface reflecting the stormy sky.
Hal?
It's good to see you, Carol.
5 minutes ago, this Tomcat and all the other were rusty piles of junk. The concrete cracked and overgrown. Ferris Aircraft was condemned, and now it's like new. It's beautiful. Did you do this?
Do you remember our first time on this airstrip, Carol?
Yes, of course. It was my first week on the job.
She reminisces about a past encounter with Hal Jordan in a training area. Hal, charmingly, suggests they go to Poncho's together, but Carol warns him about her father's disapproval of pilots flirting with her. Hal jokingly replies that he enjoys living dangerously. But Hal shifted the conversation.
No, Carol. The first time. The time we never talk about. Dad gave me his jacket to hold on to. He always said you could read a man's integrity by the way he wore his jacket. He had it high on his shoulders, close to his neck, but open, ready to offer it to anyone who needed it more than him. I hoped one day it would be mine. I wished for it.
As Hal and Carol admired the planes in the sky, Hal proudly announced that his father was piloting one of them. Carol, equally proud, asserted ownership of the planes through her father. However, their conversation was abruptly interrupted by a distress call from Hal's father, reporting mechanical issues with the aircraft. Despite attempts to resolve the situation, Carol's father, mindful of financial implications and investor scrutiny, urged Hal's father to keep the plane flying. In a desperate whisper, he called out his father's name, clinging to a flicker of hope. But as he watched in horror, Hal saw the jet plummeting to the ground with a deafening roar, smashing into the earth in a cataclysmic explosion of flames and wreckage.
When your worst fear happens in front of your eyes, there's nothing left to be afraid of. I swore I'd never let go of this jacket, and that I'd always wear it. Right.
We've never really talked about your father, not even when we were together. But it was always there, the big elephant in the room.
More like a T-Rex.
That's why my dad tried to keep you in the simulators, on the ground. He didn't want another death on his conscience.
Your father was a good man, Carol. It tore him up, inside. I know that now.
Martin Jordan died a hero. He saved all of our lives, just like you did.
Hal took a step closer to Carol, his eyes locked onto hers.
The day my father died, I learned about sacrifice. And I learned that sometimes you can't trust those in charge. Sometimes you have to question authority. And that's what I have to do now. Everything I've done these last few years, I'm not proud of it, Carol. I hate it. But something happened. And it goes beyond this nonsense with the Spectre. Something's been clouding my judgment, making me doubt the world and myself, making me afraid of my own actions, my own willpower. And that is not me. I need to find a way back.
Back? Back to where?
Back to who I was.
High above in the watchtower, Green Arrow stood there holding Hal Jordan's ring in his hand.
Used to wonder how something so damn small could be so damn powerful. Then I got to know the man who wore it. Back in the day, Hal could have saved the world with a book of matches. Though there was this time when he was trapped in a cave of gold on Jupiter's moon. Another when he was blinded by mustard. They don't still have that problem with yellow anymore, do they?
Ollie questioned to John.
Not since the original central battery was destroyed. When did he give you the ring?
Years ago, on the road. Though I doubt the Guardians would have approved, testy little elves. And for being the oldest living beings in the universe, they're a tad on the naive side.
When you're watching everything from this high, you're going to miss the details. It's why I've never liked being based up here. I feel too far removed from what's important. I could charge the ring for you.
I don't want to use it, John. Hell, I'm not even sure I can. I held on to Hal's ring once before, and I could barely get it to glow.
You won't have to use it. Batman's wrong this time. It happens.
I know, John.
Ollie said with a casual smile. Zatanna, with her hand on a digital copy of the globe, addressed Superman and Batman. Her voice carried a sense of urgency as she shared the critical information.
I've got him. The Spectre is at Ferris Aircraft, 25 miles outside of Coast City.
You're certain, Zatanna?
Hal Jordan's soul has been grafted onto one of the most powerful mystical forces in existence. It's hard not to feel his presence when he's walking the earth. Even Blue Devil could find him right now.
Keep your eyes on Guy Gardner, John. We're going to talk to Hal. And I'm hoping that will be enough.
Hoping is what you do best, Clark. And before you tear into me again, Stuart, that was meant as a compliment. It might be better if you stay with Manhunter and Dr. Midnight Queen.
I'm not a nurse.
And if things go bad for us down there, who leads everyone else in? Who else knows Hal as well as we do? I'm just trying to prepare for the worst.
And that's what you do best. That's what you do best.
Within the headquarters of the Justice Society of America, in New York, the atmosphere was heavy with tension. The fluorescent lights above cast a harsh, clinical glow across the scene, revealing Alan Scott looking as if he stood at the precipice of his own collapse. The hero leaned heavily on his daughter, Jade, who stood beside him.
I need to talk to Mr. Terrific.
You need to rest, Dad. Your fever's getting worse.
Terrific. I need...
Alan attempted to speak, but after confronting the genius within the lab, he was also accompanied with Jay Garrick.
I'm going to assist Dr. Midnight, though I'm not sure how much I can actually help him. As soon as we have a clue to what's wrong with Gardner, we'll be back.
Keep an eye on them, Terrific. I'm only connected to the Greenlanterncorps by name. My ring is based on magic, not science. But I still feel a sense of responsibility to them. And the Spectre.
I understand, Alan. Dr. Fate and the others are on standby. Now get some sleep.
As Alan Scott and Jade began their slow, painful exit from the room, Mr. Terrific exchanged a perplexed glance with Jay Garrick.
He seems pretty eager to stand up for Jordan Flash, despite the madness he's inflicted on the JSA.
How would you feel, Terrific, if the man who shared your name turned into a killer?
Standing in the pouring rain, Carol Ferris stood with a hint of sadness in her eyes as she turned to Hal Jordan.
Hal, I'm married. I love my husband, and I'm happy with the life we have.
I know, and I'm glad. Marriage, it was never even an option in my head.
They hugged tightly, enveloped in the depths of their emotions.
But if anyone could have made me settle down, it would have been you.
You're cold.
Am I?
In a swift motion, the world's mightiest heroes had converged. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Aquaman, Jon Stewart and Zatanna encircled Hal Jordan.
Jordan, what are you doing?
Talking to a friend. What's wrong? Do you need help, Batman?
We need to ask you some questions, Hal.
Diana added as Superman began to explain the situation to him.
An hour ago, every road, street sign, and your apartment building reappeared where Coast City used to be. Guy Gardner suffered some kind of meta-human hemorrhage. He exploded, taking part of the city block with him.
Guy, is he all right?
What did you do to him, Hal? What did you do to Coast City?
I fixed this airfield for Carol, Wally. But that's all I did today.
Back to fixing things, Jordan.
Batman! Shut up!
Suddenly he clutched his head as if in excruciating pain, forcing him to take to the air.
John!
Aquaman called out, but John rose higher and higher into the sky.
Guy was right. I'm just a good soldier. But it's time to stand out again. It's time to voice my opinion. Loud and clear.
In that moment, he unleashed a gigantic cylinder energy construct against the Justice League, creating a deafening boom that echoed across the area. Superman flew up, attempting to reason with his friend.
John, what are you doing? Stop this. Now.
Even the strongest of structures have their weak points, Superman.
With precision, he used his Green Lantern ring to focus a blinding beam against the Kryptonian's eyes.
Ah!
Superman!
Hal, what's going on?
Carol's voice trembled with fear as she watched Hal transform himself into the Spectre.
I've got to stop John. What the hell is he?
We are the Spectre, and this is not ours. Vengeance calls. Victims cry out for justice.
Let go of me.
The Spectre is needed elsewhere. Let go.
They both demanded, and with a flash of green light, the Spectre whisked Hal away in a swirling cloud of smoke.
Hal!
Meanwhile, Jon Stewart continued his relentless barrage of energy constructs, targeting the fleeing speedster.
Parallax is coming. Parallax is coming.
In the Watchtower's medical lab, a scene of concern unfolded before the group's eyes. With Guy Gardner strapped in an operating table, he screamed in pain as Dr. Midnight and Mr. Terrific examined his x-rays.
You're right, Midnight. His organs seem to be rebuilding themselves. His human DNA is winning out.
As they delved into their analysis, Green Arrow held onto Hal's ring as he stood watch over Guy with Martian Manhunter. Using his telepathic abilities, John reached out to Gardner's consciousness in an attempt to establish a psychic link.
Strange. I am having trouble making contact.
At least he looks better. He's...
Green Arrow quipped, his words cut short as an unexpected sensation surged through his hand, now burning with intense heat.
Yow! The ring. It's hot. It's...
It is duplicating itself. What did you...
Nothing, John.
Defying explanation, the Green Lantern ring lifted itself into the air, splitting into two identical rings. One of them, as if guided by an unseen force, hurtled towards Guy's middle finger with unerring accuracy. A brilliant, radiant green light exploded from the ring, bathing the medical lab in its ethereal glow.
Oh, yeah.
Parallax is coming.
Guy, your thoughts, confidence, arrogance, and fear. Are you all right?
You know what they say, Johnny boy.
With a surge of energy, he released a powerful blast, attacking the startled group. As the smoke cleared, the transformed Guy Gardner stood proudly, wearing his old Green Lantern uniform.
Beware my power.
Casting a night glow across the desolate landscape of Highway Mill, New Mexico, the ring continued to chant within the bonfire.
Parallax is coming. Parallax is coming.
What does that mean? Why won't that ring shut up?
Rising from the ground, Kyle answered the backpacker's question.
It's a warning. It has a name.
You keep saying that. What does? What has a name?
The weakness. The impunity.
Suddenly, a brilliant green flare streaked across the sky. Kilowog, a hulking figure with a Green Lantern ring, descended from above, commanding his presence.
What the hell is that?
A friend. At least he used to be. Kilowog was one of the strongest members of the Greenlanterncorps. But he put rookies through hell and back, and he trained them to perfection. He trained Hal Jordan.
He then told them,
"Thanks for all of the help, but you need to get out of here, guys. Now."
But...
Go.
Come on, you poozer. Let's make this easy. Use the ring, Kyle.
None.
I said, use it.
Kilowog's patience wore thin as he unleashed a ring-powered blast toward Kyle. The Green Lantern dodged the incoming blow and hurled himself out of its deadly path.
Don't give up, Kyle. Don't be weak. The coffin. It's open. Exposed. I have to...
But as Kilowog got closer to the coffin, a shimmering force field enveloped the open coffin within the damaged ship. The lanterns were momentarily blinded by a radiant light, and then a commanding voice resonated through the void, cutting through the tension.
Green Lantern of Sector 647, Kilowog of Bolivoc's Bic. You will lower your ring, and you will cease your actions immediately. The soul of Hal Jordan may reside within the Spectre, but the body of Hal Jordan is under the Guardian's protection.
He calls himself Ganfit, the last of the Guardians of the Universe. He's been the only one watching over the legacy of the Greenlanterncorps since he gave me the ring. He's old, like beginning of time, Big Bang Theory old. But don't let the red robe fool you. Ganfit could crack the planet in half with a thought. I've never seen him angry before. I'd never seen the Guardian emote much of any emotion. Until I came back from Sector 3599 and I confronted him about Parallax.
Do not ignore my request, Kilowog. Lower your ring.
What was yours, Guardian, is mine.
My call, my fellow Guardians, my purpose. I shall relinquish nothing.
As tension thickened, a lone figure, Kyle, emerged from the shadows. He picked himself up and with measured steps approached the two titans locked in a cosmic struggle.
The air gets hot. The wind stops. Silence. Until Kilowog's chest expands. A breath of air exits his nostrils, like some hungry wild beast.
Kilowog, fueled by an unforeseen rage, launched a focused attack from his emerald ring. The concentrated energy surged forward, directly striking Ganthet head-on. Yet, to Kilowog's astonishment, it failed to even phase the indomitable guardian. With a swift and calculated motion, Ganthet surrounded himself in an impenetrable cocoon of willpower. Spirals of circular orbs formed around him, spiraling with increasing intensity. The tension in the area reached its zenith as Ganthet released a blast of greater magnitude than ever before. Summoning his strength from his ring, Kyle materialized a shield construct to defend himself against the ongoing onslaught between the two beings.
Shrapnel flies through the air. I'm forced to use the ring. An electrical charge shoots through my arm and into my heart. It's reaching into my soul again. I fight it off. But it communicates visions to me, trying to chip away at my will. I could see Guy Gardner, the man who was once tapped to be Hal Jordan's replacement as Green Lantern, if he was ever unable to perform his duties. A man capable of overcoming fear. A voice hisses in my ear. He is mine. Get out.
Kyle called out, as his mind started to become overwhelmed by the collective visions of his fellow comrades flashing before his eyes.
Another image claws itself through the ring and into my brain. John Stewart, an architect from Detroit, wanting not just to save lives, but make a difference in them. When Guy was out of commission, John was chosen as the next alternate for Hal Jordan. Batman, The Flash, even Wonder Woman and Superman. John's raw willpower burns then. I've lost him too. Damn it, Jordan. You'd better be worth this.
Hal Jordan stood alone on the outskirts of a desolate wasteland, stretching as far as the eye could see.
No. John. What's wrong with... Where have you brought me, Spectre? Why?
He questioned, however there was no reply. As he continued to survey his desolate surroundings, his gaze fell upon a patriotic sign. It read, "Welcome to Coast City." When he saw it, he suddenly saw a glimmer of light in the horizon where the city laid bare. With a mixture of confusion and curiosity, Hal followed the faint, distant glow emanating from the horizon. He couldn't shake the feeling that something significant awaited him within those city limits.
What is this?
He mused aloud as he finally stepped onto the cracked and empty streets of Coast City. The green light led him onward, drawing him closer to its source. His journey through the city took him to a place he thought he had left behind forever. The green light radiated from his old apartment building, a structure laden with memories of a different time. Hal went inside and ascended the familiar stairs. He recalled the time he had with his neighbor, Mrs. Broom, whose strict but endearing manner always brought a smile to his face. He fondly recalled her reprimanding him for bringing girls home late at night, despite his insistence that it was only the television. Despite her disapproval, there was a hint of affection in her voice as she muttered about all airmen being alike. Her sharp words and stern demeanor left a lasting impression on Hal, reflecting the unique bond they shared as neighbors. In the present, as Hal ascends the stairs, he is drawn toward a specific room illuminated by a green light. His heart raced as he pushed open the door, revealing a sight that left him stunned. There, in the center of the room, rested a Green Lantern power battery, its emerald glow pulsating with an otherworldly energy. He picked it up as he questioned.
Who did all this? Who brought it all back?
You did, Jordan. We did.
Kilowog charged forward with unrelenting fury as an assault of projectiles launched directly at him. Ganthet stood his ground without any resistance as Kyle stood behind him next to the coffin.
There were 2 hikers that helped me.
I have returned the Earthmen to their dwellings. They are in no danger. Hal Jordan's body seems to be unharmed. The residual energy he held as parallax preserved it as I believed it might.
In the center of the sun, the ship you gave me barely held it together.
The proper preparations have taken place on Oa.
I need to get to the League. I need to tell them what happened to Hal.
The ring.
I can't.
Fear. It cannot sneak up on one who knows it. Your flaw has spared you the fate of the others.
But Kilwog, John, and Guy, it's already gotten then.
Understood. Protect Hal Jordan's body, his soul. We might yet save it, and the universe itself.
You'd better hope.
Kyle Rayner began, but before he could finish, Ganthet reached out his hand and enveloped Kyle in a radiant energy. As Kilowog still pressed against him, the Guardian shared.
Hope is meaningless against fear. Green Lantern of Sector 2814. Willpower is our only weapon.
Kyle Rayner was suddenly whisked away to the watchtower, accompanied by the solemn presence of Hal Jordan's coffin.
Oh God. The place is trashed. Teleportation units gone. I'm stuck here. Stuck to... John. What happened? What did?
Kyle called out, rushing over to Martian Manhunter.
Still breathing. So are Dr. Midnight and Mr. Terrific. Metal is hot. Cut through like butter. The signs of a powering. Green Arrow. Hal's best friend. As much as I respect him, he's not the first person I wanted to see.
Oliver sat against the structure, weariness etched into his features.
Guy Gardner happened, kid. Where have you been? They've been trying to get you on the horn or... Hal? Is that Hal? What the hell is going on?
I think you'd better sit down, Oliver.
Parallax. You're not me. Not anymore.
As he spoke those words, a figure began to emerge from his very being, a human form that bore an unsettling familiarity.
Correct. I am a part of you, Jordan.
Parallax pushed forth, and Hal couldn't help but wince in excruciating pain.
I will fulfill your greatest desires, and you will stop fighting against this union once and for all. I can give it all back. Coast City, your core, even Carol.
Carol, have to get back to...
She is fine for the moment.
In a swift, almost supernatural motion, the specter materialized beside Hal. They both encircled him with green flames.
Vengeance, we must deliver.
Spectre.
This spirit of vengeance must not fail.
Spirit of vengeance, you are nothing to me but a host, as Hal Jordan is to you.
You will be destroyed.
No. I believe that's everyone else.
With all his willpower, Hal held on, allowing the specter to push Parallax back into his body.
You must see the truth, Howard Jordan. You must help me fight it.
Duh. Truth?
The truth about Parallax. The truth about yourself.
Slow down. What are you talking about, Kyle?
Kyle places his power ring into his power battery and charges it as he explains the truth he had uncovered.
The power that flows through our rings. It's not just light, Oliver. The central battery the Guardians made. It collects willpower from every living being in the universe. Raw emotional willpower converted into energy, amplified by our own 1,000,000 times over. There's an emotional electromagnetic spectrum out there that could be harnessed and used. Green willpower is the most pure.
Oliver Queen couldn't help but glance at the nearby coffin.
What does this have to do with Hal?
Everything that's happened on Earth these last few months, I felt like I didn't belong here anymore. I went back to the stars, and I found something on the edge of the universe. And the 10th planet from the sun, Pagels. The beings that lived there, they were gripped with fear when they saw my ring. One of their oldest, he was telling everyone the universe was about to end, at the hands of Parallax. I thought he was talking about the first time we fought Hal together. But they told me this tale, a story about a creature that was born at the beginning of sentience, a yellow entity that was made of living fear. It created terror into anything it came into contact with, caused entire civilizations to destroy themselves out of paranoia. Their fear was eaten by this creature, and that creature was called Parallax.
What? What the hell are you?
Please, Oliver. I've traveled light years to get back here. Let me finish. Parallax threatened to consume the entire universe. It wanted to infect every living creature with fear, and fear leads to violence. Violence leads to fear. Like an endless loop of death and destruction that would keep feeding Parallax. They said the Guardians knew Parallax had to be stopped. When they forged a central power battery on Oa, they gathered willpower as Parallax gathered fear. The opposite energies couldn't destroy one another, but Parallax was imprisoned. Put into a comatose state, the Guardians believed it couldn't awake from. Over the millennia, Parallax became known simply as the Yellow Impurity. His legend was purposely forgotten, so no one would ever try to free it. That's why the rings had a problem with the color yellow. Parallax weakened its power over the corresponding spectrum, and only someone capable of overcoming great fear could master the power ring. For billions of years, Parallax was basically dead, and the Greenlanterncorps thrived. Until one day, somehow, Parallax woke up. It was weak, hungry. The power rings are a conduct to the main power battery. To tap into its AI, Parallax looked through the entire core, searching for a strong host to influence, someone who could help it escape. Parallax found Hal Jordan. Gamfett thinks its Frendrils leaked through his ring, trying to take hold, trying to weaken Hal's willpower and his confidence in himself, trying to make Hal Jordan afraid. After all, what happens when you're struck by overwhelming fear? The streaks of white hair were the first sign. Jordan probably wondered why he went grey so early. I doubt he gave it much thought. Months later, Mongol helped destroy Coast City. Everyone Jordan grew up with, everyone he protected all those years, was dead. It was more than enough for Parallax to get a real foothold in his psyche, playing off Jordan's feelings of rage, sorrow, and vengeance. It warped his sense of right and wrong, and it changed him forever. It changed how Jordan, Parallax made Jordan afraid. Afraid of what might happen tomorrow. Jordan tried to recreate Coast City and was reprimanded by the Guardians. He was threatened, told he may be stripped of his power because he used it for personal gain. So he did what anyone, desperate and terrified, would do. He fought back. And the truth is, I don't entirely blame him. Parallax influenced him, luring him back to Oa. Along the way, Jordan faced off against his fellow Corps members. And on Oa, the Guardians pulled a desperate move on their own. They freed the only other renegade, Sinestro, from the power battery. He had been imprisoned there months earlier. I'm not sure what the hell the Guardians were thinking. They'd used this lunatic to stop Hal and then put him back in the battery. Or that one Corps member who went renegade could stop another. Whatever they thought, they were wrong. Jordan broke Sinestro's neck. Then he destroyed the central battery, taking all of the power for himself. And without even knowing it, Jordan freed Parallax. The cosmic parasite grafted itself onto Jordan's soul, and the Parallax we know was born. It's been there ever since, corrupting how he thinks, how he acts. Even when Jordan relit the sun and sacrificed his life to save Earth, it was just a momentary glimpse of the real man shining through. John and I always wondered why my ring never had a problem with yellow. I never dreamed it was anything, never thought it mattered, but it worked because Parallax was free.
Oliver cast a solemn gaze upon the lifeless corpse of Hal Jordan, considering the implications of Kyle's revelations.
The yellow impurity is still linked to his soul. It's still a part of the Spectre now.
Yeah. Evil finally escaped Jordan's sight. It hid inside him.
That's not possible. The impurity.
Your feelings of being someone other than yourself were correct, Hal Jordan, and you still serve as a host for Parallax.
No. I am Parallax. If I would have known otherwise. I would have had the power to stop myself from...
You may have been the greatest of the Green Lanterns, but even you, Hal Jordan, are not invulnerable.
Sure. I mean, like father, like son, right?
Parallax interrupted Hal with a mocking tone as it began to emerge from Hal's very being, forcing him to drop the power battery in his hands.
Shut up.
I did not allow your soul to be drawn to me without reason. I hoped by binding to your infected being that I would have the ability to burn out this Parallax like a disease, to cast vengeance upon it for all of the death and fear it spread throughout God's universe, and to free your soul.
Suddenly, the Spectre convulsed in agony, and Parallax surged forth, suppressing the Spectre's presence.
But I am too powerful, even for you, Spectre.
Parallax said mockingly, as the entity tore through Hal Jordan's flesh like a monstrous cocoon.
You're mine, my puppet, and you, human, you are dead, Hal Jordan. Parallax lives!
He's been staring at the body for almost 2 minutes. The mask hides any tears. That's why John took his off.
Kyle Rayner interjected as he shared his sympathy.
I know it's a lot to take him.
Don't touch me, kid. Just give me another second to process all of this. The damned Guardians put Parallax in the power battery. Why didn't they?
They were destroyed before they even knew what happened. And Gamford, when I went to Oa to confront him about this, he thought Parallax purged him of his memories when he was freed.
That's crap! You can't trust these Guardians.
Right now, we don't have a choice. Gamford sent me to retrieve Hal's body from the sun.
Hal, his reputation, his life, his very soul, it was all taken away. I understand what you're saying for the most part, but what are we supposed to do now? How can we help him?
I'm not sure. I just know. I know we have to. Before the power of the Spectre is corrupted like Jordan's.
Why did this impurity, why did Parallax strike Hal out of the thousands of core members? And if this monster was sleeping, who the hell woke it up?
Before he could finish his sentence, Green Arrow was struck in the back by a collection of yellow energy arrows. Both he and Kyle turned around, their eyes widening as the cause of both Parallax's awakening appeared before them.
Who woke it up? Who could? Who would? Who else?
Sinestro smirked, emerging from a swirling portal with his menacing yellow constructs that resemble skeletal hands poised to release his bow and arrow.
It all makes sense, no matter how bad I don't want it to. Sinestro. Before Hal Jordan, he was called the greatest of the Green Lanterns, until he propped himself up as the ultimate authority of his sector. He was stripped of his ring and discharged from the Corps. Jordan helped the Guardians do it, so Sinestro found a different ring and a new purpose: annihilate the Green Lanterns. Guy talks trash about every one of Jordan's old enemies, always saying how candy-ass Sonar is, counting the number of times he's made Dr. Polaris cry, and it's a lot. But Sinestro? Guy never mentioned Sinestro. His voice is alien, cold and hollow, and his eyes, it's like trying to stare into the sun.
Trial Rayner. You should have let it burn out.
Sinestro pressed, his yellow energy projectiles hurtling toward them. Kyle reacted swiftly, conjuring a construct shield to protect them from the deadly barrage.
You're dead, Sinestro,
Kyle declared boldly, but his shield proved insufficient as it shattered into pieces under the relentless assault. Determined, Kyle lifted into the air, crafting a massive sword of emerald light to combat his formidable foe.
You would be amazed at the constructs Parallax is capable of. I tortured Jordan with many of them. My death at his hands was the final stage of his sustainability to the impurity. It broke his will. It allowed Parallax to leech onto his soul. I was the renegade?
Sinestro revealed, his sinister grin widening as he conjured a sword of his own, shattering Kyle's emerald weapon with ease.
But after all, how Jordan has done? Who's the renegade now?
He taunted, firing a deadly bolt of yellow energy directly at Kyle's hand, causing him to wince in pain and drop his construct. Sinestro loomed over the archer, his yellow ring gleaming ominously, as Green Arrow scrambled to his feet.
Green Arrow, the fool's friend.
Sinestro, that egghead eager maniac. I like your mustache. Thinking about trimming mine. Who's your barber?
You wear his color, the color of willpower. I despise it.
Sinestro hissed as he slammed Green Arrow into the wall with a forceful skeletal hand construct.
I hear Ollie's ribs crack like wood on fire. The skin blackens under the ring. It's still there.
Kyle Rayner, regaining his composure, struggled to stand.
I could barely hold this together, Ollie. Parallax is infecting the rings.
Kyle, don't let him get near Hal.
I never fathomed that the impurity was alive, that my quadroon ring was tapping into sentient fear. Until the Guardians imprisoned me inside the power battery, I saw it. And with the ring, I spoke to it. Now, I command fear. I bleed fear. What do you bleed?
Pushing the lantern to the side, he approached Hal Jordan's coffin. In Coast City, Parallax had successfully subdued both Hal Jordan and the Spectre. The once mighty Spectre now laid on the ground as a mere pile of bones.
Spectre, your cries for vengeance against me fade, and Hal Jordan's soul no longer poses a threat. Keeping him content no longer concerns me. Their charades are over.
With those words, Parallax obliterated Hal's apartment, turning 22 Seaview into an inferno of flames.
He is just like all of the other beings in this universe. His psyche may be stronger, but it is only food. It is only emotion.
Emotions are more powerful than you could possibly imagine, Parallax. A creature such as yourself should know that.
With Kilowog crashing to the ground next to it, Ganthet locked eyes with the malevolent entity high in the sky.
Guardian.
Kilowog is free from your influence. Even the power of the Spectre dwarfs the Guardians. The memories you stole from me are mine again. Your reprieve from Oa nears its end.
Lies. You forgot nothing. You allowed for this to happen. Without chaos, without evil in the universe, you have no reason to exist.
Without warning, two bursts of energy slammed into Ganthet's back, and the scene erupted with the arrival of Guy Gardner and John Stewart, their eyes consumed by yellow fear.
Hey, runt. Looks like you got us into another fine mess, huh? I was always surprised the Munchkins always survived as long as they did. Anyway.
Shut up and burn him, Guy. Burn Ganthet and anyone that tells us what to do.
The Guardian turned to the influenced lanterns and said,
You put fear into my points of light. Let them be free of your filth.
Circular orbs enveloped Guy and John, severing Parallax's connection over them. They both took a moment to comprehend the sudden change.
What? What the hell was that? And what the hell am I wearing?
Your uniform, Guy. You saw it, didn't you?
Parallax, creeping inside my heart like a slug, making me. I hurt John and the others. I know what it is, John. I know what happened to Jordan.
So do I.
John confirmed as they flew towards the recovering Kilowog.
Kilowog!
Not so loud, Gardner. Head's ringing as it is.
Kilowog grumbled, Picking himself up, the 3 Green Lanterns regrouped around Ganthet in the air.
You may made many an enemy in Sector 2814. They gather.
You think I could handle 3 of your core members, Guardian?
I speak not of my appointed representatives, Parallax. I speak of them.
As the Guardian's words hung in the air, Dr. Fate opened a portal, revealing a gathering of heroes that included the combined might of the Justice League, the Justice Society of America, and the Teen Titans. Parallax's sinister smile faded as he faced a formidable assembly of heroes, ready to challenge his reign of fear.
I've never felt this before. Every time Sinestro strikes, my body rots from the inside out. My blood turns to poison. John tried to explain it to me more than once. What it felt like to have a yellow weakness. A crack in the armor, he said. And Guy swore it was good for the pain threshold. I used to laugh at it. Yeller. What could that do?
The ring was never meant for an alley rat like you. But you know that, don't you, Kyle? You were never supposed to be a Green Lantern.
I'm still a Green Lantern.
With a surge of strength, he sent Sinestro hurtling across the room, crashing into a wall with a punch. Meanwhile, on the cold metallic floor, Green Arrow placed the emerald ring onto his finger as he struggled to place it in front of the power battery.
Arrows aren't gonna do much, but this might. In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who... Crap! How the hell the rest of...
As Oliver reached his fist within the power battery, it reacted with a brilliant glow of green light, flooding the area with its ethereal radiance. Sinestro, finishing his attack with Kyle Rayner, the foe formed giant staples from the very shadows of his ring, pinning the young lantern against glass artifacts and machinery.
Don't think I could hear you, Green Arrow. You're wasting your time.
Green Arrow, unfazed, leaned against the doorway and said with disdain,
Leave the kid alone.
Your will is cynical. It is useless to the ring.
You drove Hal mad. You put that parasite inside him.
Had he not interfered in my sector, I would never have crossed over to his. I am called Korrigar's greatest villain by my own people. That is my place in history. Now, on your home world, the very memory of Hal Jordan is spit on by its heroes. He shares my pain. Even you betrayed him with your bow. He has no one left that believes in him. No one to help him.
Yes, he does.
With every ounce of his strength, Green Arrow screamed in pain as he used the Green Lantern ring to construct a single arrow from his willpower, firing it directly at the center of Sinestro's chest.
Is that all you have, Earthman? Is that all your pitiful will can accomplish?
The effort drained Green Arrow, and he nearly collapsed. Fortunately, it bought Kyle the precious seconds he needed to recover. He lunged in and grabbed Green Arrow.
Move the Ollie.
As they moved out of harm's way, Sinestro unleashed a blast of hellfire that narrowly missed them.
I owe you one.
Consider us even.
I don't know if I could have used this thing again. Feels like I haven't slept in days. Hard to think. I'm exhausted. Forcing your willpower into the ring, asking it to give your thoughts life. Is that what it's like?
Every time.
Damn.
Fear me.
Dr. Fate and Zatanna are having no luck with their magics. He's preventing them from casting. They're afraid. Everyone seems to be holding back.
I feel it too. Hal's doing something to us. I warned them. John, Wonder Woman, get!
My head's back on straight, Batman. I'm in control again, but I don't know if it's wise to use our rings.
Why aren't we crawling to him? We don't need...
Gardner.
We have to get Jordan out of there.
Out of where?
With a sense of amusement, Parallax was chained from head to toe by Alan Scott.
Don't do this again, Hal. Please.
Ah, the statesman. I tried to take you too, but your power differs from ours. Nevertheless...
Parallax mused, breaking the chains effortlessly.
Your heart will be mine!
As Parallax attempted to finish Alan Scott, he suddenly recoiled, a moment of weakness crossing his monstrous form.
No, I'm not finished. I'm not through. Damn it, Spectre, fight. You want to help me? Fight it!
Hal Jordan's soul fought its way through, tearing at Parallax from the inside.
What's happening?
Dad?
I'm not sure. Parallax.
Chose the wrong soul to corrupt.
Spectre!
Hal called out, pushing further away from Parallax's humanoid body.
Only vengeance.
Help me.
As the spirit of vengeance grew, in a mighty clap, the Spectre divided Hal Jordan from the entity of fear, revealing a yellow demonic creature.
What is it? Fear itself, Supergirl.
Freaking ugly is what it is.
We did it together. Now, destroy Parallax.
Do not order me. I am not your ring. I am the Spectre, and I have interfered enough. Your soul is free of the disease. A man will soon be murdered. A new host will be born. I will be needed elsewhere. He calls me home, as he calls to you. Yours is finally free, and ready to move on. I am coming, my lord.
The Lord summoned the Spectre, who departed in a flash.
Spectre, wait!
Without Jordan's soul, without the spirit of vengeance, I have no hands holding me in place. You said the Spectre was nothing compared to your power, Guardian, and Parallax still lives in you.
Parallax declared, seizing Ganthet's body.
Hal! Hal, what is it?
John Stewart reached out to Hal's soul as he gazed upward.
A tunnel. A light. It's pulling me in, John. Just as it took the Spectre. Without him,
Did we just get ditched by the Spectre?
Hal pondered still, but before he could finish, he was sucked into the entryway. As Parallax tried to possess the Guardian, Ganthet reached out his hand and constructed a path of green orbs across the rift that was pulling Hal in.
Hal, Jordan, followed my light.
With a determined reach, Hal entered the rift, following the beacon of green light toward the stars.
Not again. I won't.
Hal regretted as he prepared to move on, but suddenly, the spirits of Abin Sur, Tomar Ray, and Arizia appeared.
Hal.
Avon?
You took control of Sector 2814 after my death. The ring chose you for a purpose. You will overcome great fear.
As he continued to follow the orb, he saw his father, Martin Jordan.
Son.
Dad?
You wear it right, son. Now fly home.
In a sudden, breathtaking moment, the beacon shot off into the cosmos, and Hal chased after it, following the beacon to another place. Battered and bruised, Kyle Rayner and Green Arrow were hurled through the wall as Sinestro cast his ominous shadow over them. Clinging desperately to the edge of the watchtower, they teetered on the brink of defeat, their bodies worn and weary. With his yellow power ring pulsating with a malevolent energy, Sinestro hovered before them, fixating his attention to Kyle.
Beg. Beg for your lives, and I will end them quickly.
Just as hope seemed lost, a glimmer of light emerged. The green lantern ring in Green Arrow's grasp ignited with a vibrant emerald glow, surging with newfound vigor. With an otherworldly grace, the ring detached itself from Green Arrow's finger and soared into the air. A flicker of surprise crossed the villain's eyes as the ring streaked past him.
I wake up from a dream, and I call to it. It comes as it always did. My weapon, my power ring.
The ring, guided by an unseen force, darted towards the nearby coffin and gently placed itself on the middle finger of a still, lifeless body. White streaks in his hair faded, returning it to its natural brown hue, and within an instant, the ring's luminous energy enveloped Hal Jordan's form.
My thoughts and emotions swift. My body aches. My soul does not. I'm finally thinking clearly. I'm finally thinking like me. There's no more cries for vengeance. No more fear, but plenty of damn willpower. Will to stand up, will to fight, and will to live.
As his eyes slowly opened, the coffin containing his former self erupted into a burst of dazzling light, leaving Sinestro in a state of shock. Hal Jordan, reborn but no longer consumed by parallax or bound to the role of the Spectre, emerged from the radiant burst. He was once again a Green Lantern.
Sinestro, get the hell away from them.
Sprawling on the floor, Kyle looked up to see Hal Jordan newly resurrected in front of his eyes.
Jordan?
The uniform fits. The ring fits better. Always did. A circle of never-ending light, symbol of renewed life. It's no mistake they were chosen to represent the power of the Greenlanterncorps.
He reiterated his command for Sinestro to stand down. He pointed his charged ring at his adversary with authority.
I told you, Sinestro. Get the hell away from them. When I was first recruited, I was told, do not challenge those more powerful than you. Funny stuff.
Without hesitation, Sinestro shot Hal out of the watchtower with a single blast. As the impact sent him off careening off the moon's surface, one after the other.
Damn.
Wiping his bloody nose, he smiled to see Sinestro, who was rapidly towards him with lightning speed.
He's lecturing me like always, but I can't hear him. Sinestro isn't close enough for my ring to translate. Not yet.
Floating on the moon, Hal checked his ring's power.
Ring, power check.
Power level at 99.4%.
I don't hear any voices. Nothing inside screaming you cannot do this, or telling me to go and find myself. No more self-searching boat trips. I'm Hal Jordan. Man. Pilot. Green Lantern.
Sinestro lunged at him, seizing Hal's neck. As the cosmic adversaries clashed, their battle transcended space, leaving trails of radiant green and yellow light in their wake.
My tendons tighten across my fist. Every nerve in my forearm lightens up as the ring pulsates. I clear my head and concentrate. My emerald girl is waiting for me, throttling like an F-16. I strap in and let her fly.
Hal, holding Sinestro's neck, aimed his ring directly at him while he struggled to make a move.
You took the oath too seriously.
And you abandoned it. The stars seemed so big again. Space, all-encompassing. I prepped the ring, get ready for another spin.
He then focused his ring, unleashing a beam strike that sent his opponent tumbling through space.
The oath abandoned me. You all did. When you ripped Korogar from my hands, you left it in chaos, under the care of a naive child. Tamatoi could not replace me. No one can replace me. Korogar's true protector will have his justice.
Sinestro accused, unleashing shards of deadly glass-like projectiles. Hal countered with exploding fireworks, homing in on each shard.
Justice? You wanted vengeance against me and the Corps. I don't believe in vengeance.
But you did. You were vengeance, pure vengeance, and you are a murderer. I made you a murderer, Hal Jordan.
Sinestro wants complete control over everything and everybody. And what Sinestro can't control, he destroys. It was his mission from the very beginning.
Soaring through the cloudy sky, the wind whistled past him as the fighter jet flew above.
Ferris wants this Perseus, Jordan. We're about robust trajectory tracking today, not split S maneuvers.
I was just loosening up.
Data feed begins now.
Copy that, Tel.
As he adjusted his flight path, Hal's keen eyes caught something unexpected on his radar and reported it to the control tower.
Hey, I've got something at 12 o'clock. Thought I was alone up here.
Nothing on our screen. Are you sure? Jordan? Come in. Jordan?
But Hal's attention was no longer on the comms. Rapidly approaching him, he discerned a figure of emerald light, a green lantern looming before him. In an instant, the pilot collided with Sinestro, resulting in a colossal explosion. As the debris settled, Sinestro encapsulated Hal within a protective construct.
Green Lantern of Sector 2814. You are wasting time.
What are you doing? Who the hell are you?
Hal demanded, as his Green Lantern uniform materialized around him.
I am Sinestro, Green Lantern of Sector 1417.
Is that supposed to impress me?
Ring?
Sector 1417, the most orderly sector in all the universe.
And I am the greatest Green Lantern. The Guardians have deemed you worthy enough to continue your training with me. Only a select few have been as honored. Stenel, Arcus, Hamak, Kanto.
Sinestro continued, as Hal used his ring to dissipate the bubble.
And who's going to shell out this $20 million for that jet? I didn't see any pockets.
Your terrestrial affairs should be of little concern, Earthman. You are in the presence of a veteran. Never question a superior officer. Never challenge those more powerful than you.
Yeah. That's not gonna work for me.
In the vast expanse of space, Hal and Sinestro continued their fierce battle, weaving and dodging through the treacherous asteroid field surrounding Saturn.
It never did. But whatever Parallax pushed me to do, it was still my hand that did it. He got me from the inside. I was cocky, overconfident, should have been able to fight it off. I'm stronger than the impurity. I have to be. I will be.
Your mind is like a muscle, unused for years. You forgot how to use the power ring. I can see it, Jordan. You're sweating, working too hard. You're working too slow. I've contacted Parallax. I influenced it as I influenced you. It will consume your homeworld, Jordan. You will fail your sector, and then I will finish with Kyle Rayner. I'll kill that alley rat.
With determination, Hal Jordan swung his arm, readying himself for a powerful punch.
Kyle held the torch when no one else did. When no one else could.
Rayner is a fool.
No. You will respect him.
Hal retorted as Sinestro charged toward him.
I will slice the creature's chest open and rip out his useless heart.
Disrupting his plans, a new voice suddenly joined the fray, firing a barrage of arrows at Sinestro's back in the shape of a Green Lantern symbol.
Damn right. Green Arrow says hi.
Kyle Rayner announced, as Sinestro screamed in pain. Hal and Kyle worked together, using their combined power to bind Sinestro in chains, belts, and metal straps against an asteroid.
I crush Sinestro's wrist. Keep the pressure on. Pain keeps his willpower off balance. Usually.
But Sinestro broke free and charged at the two lanterns.
Jordan!
Sinestro!
Their rings clashed, releasing a massive surge of white lightning as they both collided upon impact.
His ring cracks. Reality bends. I push harder. It finally shatters.
As Sinestro's ring broke under the immense pressure of Hal's power ring, he released a burning bright flare, which ate him alive. Sinestro chuckled, acknowledging his defeat.
Jordan, welcome back,
he said as his flesh warped away from his bones, disintegrating until there was nothing left. With the battle won, Hal turned to Kyle.
His power. Just dying embers floating back into the spectrum.
Is he dead?
Ring?
Negative. The weapon's molecular structure split upon destruction, resulting in a dimensional tear favoring the source material. Residual energy signature confirms a 1963.
A what? What in 1963?
Suspect escaped into an extra-dimensional vortex. The antimatter universe. It's where he was first banished, where his ring was forged. Tracking him now will be impossible, let alone accessing entry. The bastard's still laughing. Can't worry about that. We're not done. But first, let's do this right. How, Jordan?
As they shook hands, the other lantern introduced himself.
Kyle Rayner.
Thanks.
I only wanted to help.
Which is why the ring picked you. Parallax is loose on Earth, but Oliver
is alive. Martian Manhunter and the others are awake. Made sure they were okay, then I followed your trail.
Come on then, Kyle. Duty calls.
Wait. You already know I'm not like the other lanterns, Jordan. I'm not a guy that could overcome great fear or whatever.
Fighting from one end of the universe to the other? Risking your life to help someone who everyone else wrote off? Facing Sinestro one-on-one and living to talk about it? What do you think you've been doing, Kyle? Hiding under your drawing board?
The lantern flew off. With a smirk, Kyle looked up at the vastness of space, ready to follow Hal back to Earth. On the scene, it was a battle unlike any other. Parallax, the embodiment of fear itself, had taken complete possession of Ganthet, one of the guardians of the universe. In this unholy union, Ganthet's once serene form had morphed into a nightmarish guardian with insectoid legs, a horrifying sight that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to witness it.
It is over, Guardian. Your power is mine. Fear will spread through your precious sectors. My light, my color. I'm ever so hungry.
As Parallax spoke, he unleashed his terrifying power, obliterating any hero who attempted to stand against him. Their desperate attempts were in vain as they fell before the overwhelming force of fear.
Hungry for you. Victims of fear. And yet, I sense a worshipper. A disciple.
The entity turned its gaze towards Batman, whose stoic expression betrayed no fear. Bewildered by the surreal scene, the Flash voiced the question on everyone's mind.
Was that inside Hal?
It's infected Ganthet.
And our rings.
We're out of tricks.
Kilowog realized. But just as despair threatened to consume them, two figures descended upon the battlefield from above. It was Hal and Kyle.
I'm sure we've got a few others up our sleeves, Kilowog. Polish off your rings and stand together.
Hal?
Kyle? Jordan? How the hell did...
I'll explain later, Gardner. First, we take out your frustrations on Parallax. Light 'em up. Then listen for fear. Remember fear. Remember fear, and you could shake off Parallax.
The strange and cryptic directive hung in the air. Guy couldn't help but voice his confusion.
Remember fear? What kind of new science crap is that?
He's right, Guy. It's how I skated through. What's the plan?
We'll figure it out on the way up.
Hal responded, their collective willpower manifesting as a brilliant green lantern symbol beneath their feet. But just as they prepared to confront Parallax, a grappling hook shot out from the shadows, snaring Hal's arm.
Jordan!
It was Batman, his eyes locked onto the green lantern.
As long as I'm standing, you're not doing anything.
Behind him, a formidable alliance of heroes had assembled. Superman, Aquaman, Zatanna, Wonder Woman, and the Flash, all united against the encroaching darkness.
That man believes in everything I don't. Darkness and fear. I live off other things. Light and courage.
I want an explanation, Jordan.
Batman demanded, as he locked his eyes onto Hal's. Ignoring Batman's interrogation, Hal used his ring to incinerate the rope that bound him, emphasizing the essence of his strength.
Figure it out.
The situation grew graver as Parallax continued to extend its influence, growing more powerful as each second passes by with its yellow emotion.
What the hell is it doing?
It's infecting everyone but us. Riots are breaking out in Los Angeles. Panic cops are trigger-happy in Star City. Images are flickering in front of my eyes like a subliminal slideshow.
Jordan.
Still not satisfied with the explanation, Batman attempted to get his attention, but the Green Lantern did not waver.
We're not done,
he demanded, grabbing him by the shoulder. But Hal turned around and with a right hook punched Batman across the jaw. As the caped crusader fell to the ground, Hal declared,
Right now, we are. Let's go, Lanterns.
As they took flight, Guy Gardner couldn't contain his admiration for Hal's prowess.
Did you see that? One punch. You know, Hal, I've always liked you.
Shut up, Guy.
Batman.
Arrogant as ever. We need to regroup and take on Parallax
However, Jade and Alan Scott intervened, creating a wall of green fire between the heroes and Parallax.
Hal knows what he's doing. Let the Corps handle this one,
Alan stated. As the Green Lanterns pressed forward toward Parallax, John Stewart voiced his cautions.
We can't just rush in without a plan, Hal.
With his unshaken confidence, Hal reassures him.
I'll have one by the time we get there.
But...
Do you trust me, John?
Yeah, I do.
Kyle added his thoughts into the conversation.
Gamfit said preparations were made on Oa for Parallax, and he didn't say what that meant.
I can guess. Our rings all have a connection to the central power battery.
It's how we tap into the AI.
And how Parallax got to me in the first place. We open that connection, we send him back into the battery.
It's gonna be like putting a tornado in a beer bottle.
Don't be so hard.
Just give us the word, Hal.
I'll spit on your souls!
Undeterred, Hal signaled their coordinated attack.
Now would be good.
Got it.
John acted, as used his ring to staple an energy construct of a heavy crane onto Parallax's hand.
John's constructs are built from the inside out. You look close, you could see every nut and bolt that makes it work. Nothing he creates is hollow, with or without the ring.
Yeehaw, sucker.
Guy then channeled his ring's energy into a giant buzzsaw construct above him, trying to penetrate his neck.
All the way, ring.
Gardner's ring is like a leaky water faucet. Sparks always fly, even when he's just standing still. His willpower can't wait to get free. He opens it up, and attitude disappears in a storm of emerald energy.
Joining the fray, Kilowog fires a destructive blast with a resounding sonic boom.
Kilowog steps up to bat. His ring is the only one that makes a sound, like a cannon exploding.
As the Green Lanterns continued their assault, Kyle constructed a hand to pencil his artistic designs within its mouth.
A green light fades into the air around Parallax. Kyle is sketching in his head. It sharpens into view, constantly being refined by his own imagination. Kyle is never satisfied. He's an artist. Time to join in.
With Kyle clearing the way, Hal Jordan fired a direct shot to the entity's throat.
For me, it's about precision. Doing exactly what I need to do to get the job done. Concentrated power, focused ambition, tangible glory.
Combining their efforts together, the Green Lantern Corps unified their willpower against his throat. As they attacked, they recited the Lantern's oath, channeling their willpower into their assault.
In brightest day,
in blackest night,
no evil shall escape our sight.
Let those who worship evil's might
beware our power. Ha.
Green Lantern's light.
I will not be imprisoned again. Not by you.
Parallax bellowed as the lanterns kept attacking.
The air freezes around us, the vacuum of spaced weapons. I could feel the rings create a pathway to the center of the universe.
But Parallax fought back with an intoxicating wave of fear, crippling each member one by one.
Guy burns from the inside out. John goes blind. Kyle, deaf. Even Kilowog falls.
Every lantern failed, except for Hal, who remained standing despite the odds with his willpower unbroken.
Give up. You failed once. You fail again.
Parallax taunted, getting closer and closer as Hal pushed his willpower to the absolute limit.
Lay down and die. You're weak. You're scared. Give up now. Give up. Give up, damn you.
I don't know how. Come on, guys. Hold the line.
The Green Lanterns pushed harder with their collective willpower, overpowering the entity's malevolence. Guy Gardner couldn't help but add,
"That all you got, Parallax?"
As they continued to press forward, Hal told the entity,
"Enjoy the ride home, pal. I did."
Together, the Green Lanterns separated Parallax from Ganthet, each absorbing a piece of the malevolent entity into their rings. Parallax was sucked into the central power battery, locked away once more. Overseeing the situation, the Guardians gathered around and addressed,
"Brothers and sisters, it is time."
Back on Earth, the Green Lanterns approached Ganthet, who lay on the ground. Hal called out to him, concerned for the Guardians' well-being.
Ganthet.
It is time.
Ganthet, can you hear me?
Time.
Looks like he's breathing.
You have all done well.
He told them before vanishing in a flash of light. Guy Gardner, jubilant to have his ring back, couldn't contain his excitement as he kisses his ring.
"Yeah, baby. That's the way the Lanterns do it."
Hey, Gardner. What was all that talk about how you didn't miss the ring?
I lied.
Hal?
But their moment of celebration was short-lived, as Batman loomed behind him, ready to confront the Green Lanterns about their ordeal with both the Justice League and the Teen Titans to back him up. They both stared each other down as they eventually got to the point.
Do you expect me to believe this? That you were influenced? Possessed? Is that what Parallax was? An outside force that...
I don't expect you to believe anything. And quite honestly, I don't care.
So you're back?
Is that a problem?
Not right now, John. I suppose this universe needs a little more light anyway.
Batman responded as he walked away. Hal then turned to John, asking,
He's right, isn't he?
Yeah, he usually is.
The night hung heavy over Belle Reve Penitentiary, its cold steel bars standing tall and unyielding. Deep within the heart of this imposing fortress, Hector Hammond sat in his dimly lit cell.
What a wonderful tale of the human condition. I know it well, yes. I've listened to all of them across the globe. Rage, sorrow, depression, fear. Though I never knew you had it in you, Mr. Rayner.
He thought aloud, as drool passed his lips.
And Captain Jordan, my precious, precious Jordan, you found your way here. And won't it be ever so delicious and exciting when they find their way back too?
In Northern California, the morning sun cast a warm glow over Ferris aircraft, painting the hangars and runways in a golden hue. Hal Jordan stood in his flight suit, looking more expressive than ever before. He had just finished explaining the unbelievable events of the previous day to Carol Ferris.
I think I understand it. I know it's hard. I could barely get my head around it myself.
Do you remember anything? When you were that spirit?
Kind of, but just like I was watching from the outside. How he thinks, who he talked to beyond this life. I can't recall. I'm sorry for everything you have had to go through, Carol.
I survived, and I'm not going to sell. If you can rebuild your life, so can I. And Gil and I are going to do it together. First the airfield, then a family. We could use a good pilot.
Hal managed a small, appreciative smile at her offer.
Appreciate the offer, but I've got other plans.
Their conversation ended as they embraced each other with a hug.
Take care of yourself, Hal Jordan.
You too.
Funny.
What?
Carol smiled at him.
You're not so cold anymore.
Sometime later in the subterranean confines of Star City, Oliver rummages through the basement compartments as Hal watched over him.
It's here somewhere.
You're up and running pretty quick.
Yeah, thanks to the 300+ stitches. Though my shot is still off by a millineedle or two.
And that's new?
I forgot you had a sense of humor. So, after all this, what's next?
Oliver smiled as Hal contemplated his thoughts aloud.
Next, I'll start living my life.
Finally, the archer pulled out an energy source that seemed to pulse with its own life.
Here we go. I grabbed it after you became, well, Parallax appeared. Found it in your locker at first.
He said, holding it up for Hal to see.
Your power battery.
Oliver turned around as his friend picked it up from his hands.
You know, I still can't remember that damn oath.
The room seemed to hold its breath as the lantern glowed brighter. Hal's signature uniform unfolded around him, green and shimmering like an emblem of hope. With a sense of purpose, he looked at Oliver and declared,
I'll never forget it. In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.